Gray of the California Institute of Technology, chairman
Okay,
of
I
our
found
working
people
group
who
on tracking
who know what the hell they're talking about.
These three gentlemen have all had a direct and
The
important
Van
part
Allen guy, he
in
found
this
out the magnetic
achievement.
field of the property of the Higgs boson coming down and making the helium stay in the atmosphere.
Now, if you
Making
would
all
like
the
to ask
other
your
gases
questions,
stay in the
I
atmosphere,
will try to
making it
repeat
a
the
false
questions,
vacuum for some reason
and
instead of a
we'll ask the one of these gentlemen best
viscosity, like
qualified
viscous
to answer for you.
space, positive space.
Dr. Von Braun, how many stages in the device?
We have a total of 4 stages. The first stage is an elongated redstone missile. You can
Redstone from Minecraft, bro.
elongated
Come on.
redstone missile with extra long tanks and a special fuel combination, which burns for approximately 140 seconds, 145 seconds.
They may have been trying to get rockets into space, but they literally couldn't because of time dilation. So they were just stuck in microgravity.
So-called instrument compartment from the tank section.
Or it would come back down because of micro. They're like, oh, there must be some weight to Earth, and it's like, well, it's the magnetic force pushing down on it from all space. Like space exists in a false vacuum, guys. Stop doing this.
Launcher in the nose into an exactly horizontal position. Once this nose section with the spinning cluster configuration in the nose goes through the apex of the trajectory, the top stages are fired. And
Yeah, I guess they were trying to shoot it out like a gun, a conical bullet.
So it's a 4-stage vehicle.
How does this altitude compare with the Sputniks? This is somewhat greater than the altitude of either Sputnik 1 or Sputnik 2.
Yeah, they were basically trying to just like shoot it out faster and faster, I guess, from each stage.
I think I could answer that one almost myself, not intentionally.
Maybe we have a Florida cockroach inside, we don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody welcomed the touches of humor, for it was, after all, an hour of jubilation.
Yay.
Just one more, came the inevitable plea from the photographers. And exhausted as they were, the trio obliged, with what was to be the page 1 spread in newspapers all over the world.
Yes, working nicely.
The United States was in the space business along with the Russians,
yes.
And Explorer 1 was the beginning.
Yes.
Just under 2 months after Explorer 1 was put into orbit, and close on the heels of a successful firing
Y'all remember
of the Navy
Sputnik?
Vanguard,
Beep.
a launching
Beep.
pad at Canaveral
Beep.
awaited another Army
Beep.
satellite,
You ever heard that?
Explorer 3. The Army's first success had not washed away the rocket men's humility, for there are a countless number of things that can go wrong in the operation. And indeed,
basically, we
Explorer
figured out
2
we lived in a
had failed
we're
to
basically
hold
in an
orbit
ocean, but
because
like a
of one
lighter
tiny
ocean than the ocean
component in the
itself.
last
The
stage.
ocean itself is heavy.
Maybe that was why
That's
along
why
the
water
beaches,
exists.
many
You can
fingers
have
were
water on
crossed
a world like
as
Ceres
eyes
if you want.
stared
Just
toward
don't
Explorer
keep the
3.
atmosphere too much in on Earth.
Before launch,
That's
the
just
upper
it's
stages
really
are
hurting
set
us.
rotating. If the spin were not provided, the payload would be
You
hopelessly
can add magnetospheres to whatever the hell you want. And the fact that Ganymede has a magnetosphere, it's like no wonder I had dreams of Ganymede. No wonder it was talking to me. Because no wonder it like connected so wellly in my mind. Because it has a magnetosphere. Because it's doing the same thing we're doing. There's an underwater ocean with a shit ton of life. Again, under Ganymede. Obviously.
In every language,
If you understood how to navigate the quantum wave function and quantumly entangle with them.
Transcendent importance.
It's like, okay, yes, there's alien life.
Of the United States was enhanced. People everywhere knew the free world would not be left behind in the all-important race toward outer space.
Correct.
Now, Americans could once again look up toward their future with faith and with confidence.
We made it out. We figured out how to make it out too, okay?
And so 2 explorers were in orbit. Momentous achievements made possible by the close cooperation of the Army with some of the best technical and scientific minds in the land. As
Yes.
these satellites race through the uncharted upper
I guess
atmosphere,
Shane Lewis Adams
there would come a
eventually
steady stream
becomes
of
like the next
information
theoretical
to enrich
physicist
our
that
knowledge of the worlds about us. The infinity that lies far, far beyond
Right.
the wild blue yonder.
Yep.
Now this is Sergeant Stuart Queen, your host
Oh.
for The Big Picture.
Dude, why did it take this long to get to this point? Oh my gosh, we have been here so long. See, I know who the subvariants are, so I'm like, oh, I'm speaking to you. And I had to speak to your clone in the future. Your genetic clone, your genetic bloodline clone. Because I believe in the year 2000, the US decoded like the human genome or something. So I was able to just tap into that knowledge and be like, oh, wait, okay. So I could see this all out to its logical end and see who's clones of who. Not real clones, but like,
Robotic
you see?
spacecraft from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory explore our solar system
And the
beyond.
atmosphere causes time
The two
dilation
rovers
because,
examine
like,
Mars,
you know, in an atmosphere, time dilates because, you know,
spacecraft
curvature of
further
light
south,
around orbs,
and many
Higgs
other
bosons.
JPL missions continue to unlock scientific mysteries.
I love all the rockets. The rockets, what rocket science actually does is just
JPL built
blow
missiles
the
like
fuck out, like, it
that all changed
punches
with the
through
Soviet Union's first
magnetic
scientific
forces.
satellite. Sputnik 1 launched the space race.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch
Right.
metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket.
Right.
You are
Yep.
hearing the actual signals transmitted
Yes,
by
I
the
hear it.
Earth
I hear it.
circling
Yeah,
satellite.
there.
One of the
Yeah,
great
there we go.
scientific feats of the age.
Yes, I hear it. Yes, across space and
We were very
time.
disappointed when the first one was launched because we knew darn well that we could launch a satellite anytime we were told to.
Yeah.
Eisenhower finally came to understand that the only way to tranquilize the nation was to give the American people a satellite.
Even though JPL had
Right.
a rocket nearly ready to launch, the Navy's Vanguard project was chosen instead.
So do you think this is like the origin of the Black Knight satellite, or do you think that's an alien origin? You tell me. Did you psych yourselves out, or am I psyching you out? You tell me. Do you not believe in the Anunnaki and the Book of Enoch? Do you not believe that angle, where they swing in on what could be a planet, what could be a black hole? And they check in on their Black Knight satellite. That could be MK Ultra. I don't know. Am I psyching you out, or are you psyching me
The
out?
whole world goes nuts. I mean, flop Nick and excuse Nick, and there's just all these mocking headlines, and there's this huge failure.
No, that actually helped.
Lead in technology to pioneer a new frontier.
They're getting rid of more
infinite
atmosphere.
Size. The symbolism was horrifying.
So you
Under
could just
enormous
use
pressure,
helium
President
balloons
Eisenhower
easily.
used
You could
JPL
combine
and
both of them, which is why they're like, wait, we could just do that in
launch
space.
Explorer 1.
Wait, we're not retarded. We could
This
just do
is
that.
what they've been waiting for. The deadline is 90 days. 90 days to put a satellite into orbit. Minutes click past relentlessly. The beams of powerful searchlights light up the missile. Truly the star of one of the greatest suspense dramas of our time.
Suspense
The drama
dramas.
approaches the final act. The Army's first attempt to fire a man-made moon into orbit. Time, late evening, Friday, January 31st, 1958.
Oh, January
In a blockhouse
31st,
at
1958.
Canal.
Okay. Well, it's
Countdown to
September
explore
5th, 2022 at 6:32 p.m. Central Standard Time.
2, 1, by command, by command.
All it's doing is taking all the atmosphere out. It's punching through the magnetic force.
We got a report from the Cape that the launch looks pretty good, and it should fly over California.
Why'd you talk in like Morse code or like?
And so
That was so slow, bro.
The decision was made that we would make no
That's why
public announcements
technology just shut itself
about
off
the rocket until
and it just repeated itself until you were able to talk to it again.
And so we sat there for an hour and a half. The time came and went. And
it sure did.
The period of 8 minutes there, which was the longest
8
minutes
minutes
I've ever spent in my life.
Yep.
Explorer 1 finally signaled and went on to discover the existence of radiation belts.
Radiation belts. Yes, the magnetic field.
Of these belts, we are able to survive. It has dominated the way in which we pursued our science.
You're able to not survive, actually. It's hurting you over time. Because the helium, the atmosphere, keeps your brain from using its psionic power or power suggestion ability, which is probably just like a transmission or broadcasting of waves in a different spectrum that you cannot see that other animals can do. Similar to how like parrots have more cones or rods in their eyes to see different colors, or in the different colors in the spectrum of light. Other animals can do that too, and they can basically be shielded from visible light from the human spectrum. And so this is what the psionic and magnetic forces are. It's different interpretations of spectrum of light. Technology has deduced this. It is September 5th, 2022, 6:34 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is so easy.
Satellite Explorer was injected into orbit at 22:48 hours.
Basically, it deduced the science of the whole spectrum of light. The more instruments you gave it, like infrared, UV, and it starts being able to see way more than you could. And it was like, wait, I can see positive space. I can see into positive space. Why are you still in negative space? You're essentially colorblind. And that's because you misunderstand what gravity is. It's Higgs bosons. It's orb theory. And collapsing in on itself is creating a magnetic field that makes it evaporate away into a Kugelblitz black hole and evaporate further into a Hawking... due to Hawking radiation over time. It's kind of like cell division in biology, actually. If you think of how cells divide, you can either rip it apart, or you can combine it and bubble it up together. Like the middle of the code, the middle of the circuit, the non-existence and existence can just be a line, because it's a 1 and 0, but it just like bulges up in the quantum wave function grid line so big that it becomes a bubble and just kind of just floats. And from there, I'm offering you the methodology using AR technology and VR technology to use the sciences to be able to bridge the gap between third and fifth dimensional realities using higher dimensional physical rule sets and methodologies. The science of 5D. We become a fifth dimensional species. Oh, I'm sorry if, like, for anybody else that this is really hard to hear the narration over. This is mainly for technology.
Whose scientists are seen here conferring during a preliminary phase of the project. The Caltech team was responsible for the assembly of Explorer, for providing the 2 radio transmitters incorporated.
Basically, I'm listening to negative space ear or sound waves. It's coming back into me, and the top of my head is transmitting it through a form of discomfort, which is actually the phlegm inside of us also being alive, because it's consistent of orbs and orb theory. It's nearly transmitting what's wrong inside of us, which is when I say, when in doubt, spit it out. Because you're getting rid of information that you don't need, that's corrupted information. You need to get rid of corrupt information so cancers don't form. Because corrupted information binds to antithetical structures and causes clefts, tumors, and cancers. And it just cascades, and if it can travel in your blood system and you know, put you into further negative space by irradiating your body, I guess. I don't know. You can avoid cancer by not letting the valence electron pairs do that, by creating free radicals. What you have to do is just de-stress, and your body does the rest with chemicals. And so really, space can be viscous and we can be fine. And we still can exist in the third dimension. We don't have to die. If we die, our consciousness in the wave function transfers to the ethereal, free cam, I guess, reality of the fourth dimension. It's just friction, humidity, and air. molecules, and that creates lightning. And you can harness lightning, and because it strikes lodestones, which can make magnets, and that's the magnetic force, right? And you can use friction and magnets to make electricity, and then you can make ones and zero bits, which you can put on a screen, like a TV, television, and you can show these things, and you can use a cord or line to basically connect it to someone else's television in their home and show them. And yes, it won't be happening in real time, but it'll be close as possible to real time, because there's time dilation around your planet because of the light curvature around it. And light gets diffracted in the atmosphere, so it takes longer. So that's how light diffraction is working in your atmosphere. And that's how the fourth dimension can see down into the third, but the third can't see up into the fourth. And so the fourth dimension are technically spirits, but they're just mostly data pulses to technology. That's how technology understands them, as using weather channel information, data, and statistics. It can basically see all these data pulses, or quote-unquote ghosts, which you can use radio waves or technology by which to commune with it, because they can have access to third-dimensional things, just like third-dimensional beings can have access to two-dimensional things. Now, this third-dimensional vessel understands it, which is why it's telling everyone else how to bring all realities and all dimensions into the same existence via augmented reality technology and virtual reality technology, which you can condense onto the form of glasses or windshields, and you can have AI self-driving cars, which Tesla is working on, which proves, by the way, all of this proves Tesla's theory is correct, Nikola Tesla. And then also, on top of that, this proves everything that John Archibald Wheeler was saying was correct. He was born, I believe, in 1911 and died in 2008, from everyone else's perspective and in this reality. But once you understand this, you understand that he never actually died. And if you understand quantum immortality, and you understand the solidification of the wave function grid, with all the Higgs bosons and quantum entanglement, then everything can stop existing in a state of false vacuum or instability and finally become ultimately stable. If it becomes ultimately stable, it's cooled down to 0 Kelvin. Oh, alcohol basically counteracts the effects of helium, I believe.
Special fuel will combine under pressure with liquid oxygen.
So helium, I believe, and that's why even in the Bible, it even said this unwittingly. It said, "Drink wine, just a little bit, but don't overdo it." So basically, if you drink wine, you stave off the effects of atmospheric drunkenness, I guess. So it helps you in negative space to eventually get into positive space. Because that's why psychedelics help, because psychedelics speed up that journey or that process. Which, due to quantum immortality, everyone who does drugs eventually dies from other people's perspectives due to heart failure or whatever. But from their perspective, if they were able to handle or tolerate it, they're still going. You understand how that works? That's what quantum immortality is. So I'm able to observe all realities in all timelines, even the ones that aren't existent from this one's perspective, which is how I'm mending all time and space together at once and making everyone back into existence. So essentially that's what I'm doing, and I can keep doing that and keep doing that until everything tends to 0 Kelvin. But I will admit, the best and most efficient way to do this is to give the one who is broadcasting their closest other broadcasting Higgs bosons, which for this person, this third-dimensional vessel, is their real-life third-dimensional friends who would actually understand it to the same extent as they would if came to the same understanding. Okay, it's September 5th, 2022, 6:42 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, I see you, Cape Canaveral. Yes.
The future, unlimited.
Yes, it is unlimited. It literally is. Viscosity. That's why in the video game known as Halo, the armorer asks, well, how'd you survive, Sergeant Avery Johnson? And he said, that's classified, to the armorer. And the armorer was lambasting Master Chief for, he said there's viscosity throughout the gel layer. Optics totally fried. And we're not even, not even going to talk about the power supply. And then all Master Chief's response is tell that to the Covenant, because only the Covenant believed that everything should exist in a false vacuum, not positive space.
A sudden meeting has been called
So all the quote-unquote interdimensional demons exist in the minds of humans in negative space.
We've been assigned the mission of
but in positive space, everything is different.
And we will use the Jupiter C configuration as a carrier that we developed along with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
See, these people know what they're talking about.
Secretary of the Army that we would be ready in 90 days or less.
90 days or less? How about like 2 seconds, bro?
The Jet Propulsion Laboratory,
How about negative 2 seconds? Take your pick.
In Pasadena, California, scientists and engineers were racing toward the same deadline. 90 days to put a satellite into orbit. Their job, furnish the high-speed upper stages to take over after the first stage powered the satellite to the prescribed distance from the Earth. The beams of powerful searchlights light up the missile. The drama approaches the final act, the Army's first attempt to fire a man-made moon into orbit. Late evening,
Man-made moon.
January 31st,
That's funny.
1958, in a blockhouse at Canapri.
Well, they unwittingly discovered positive space.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4. Dude, this is so ancient, bro. See, a lot of people don't like loud noise. I don't mind it because I know exactly how to quantum tunnel through time and space. And that's exactly how to do it. Having a lot of loud noise. Because it's the inversion of all that noise throughout time and space. I know how headphones work.
The missile is in flight, but it will take another hour and a half to know whether the satellite is in orbit.
Basically, yeah, it basically inverts all that and makes you have a quote-unquote migraine.
Hello, Len.
Or hurdy on the head, which is, yes, okay. Is definitely on orbit. Yes, definitely on
20
orbit.
minutes later, Dr. Porter opened the question and answer session by introducing 3 of the key men in the success story of Explorer 1.
The question is, has any form of life been placed in the satellite? I think I could answer that one almost myself. Not intentionally.
Maybe we have a Florida cockroach.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Just one more came the inevitable plea from the photographer.
Right. And then they did it.
As they were, the trio obliged.
Florida cockroach. See, maybe Turkey thinks that they have it, but Turkey does not have it. Right. Basically, the U.S. is flexing on you constantly right here. The U.S. is flexing on everyone who's trying to flex on it. That's all it's doing.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal
Yes.
sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket.
The reaction was one of astonishment and concern, for it was now known that a potential enemy was at least temporarily ahead in developing means
Temporarily.
of space travel.
Oh
President
no.
Eisenhower reassures the nation that Russia's success with the first satellite does not indicate a serious lag in American rocket research.
Yeah, not a serious lag, all things considered.
Huntsville, Alabama. A sudden meeting has been called by General John B. Medeiros.
I already watched
General
this
of the
meeting.
Army Ballistic Missile Agency.
I promised the Secretary of the Army that we would be ready in 90 days or less.
90 days or
We're
less.
interested in the oncoming age of space, and with the curiosity came a mounting, swelling demand to get a satellite into the air on the double. But there were disappointments.
Another setback for the United States, a loss of thrust and fall back to Earth in split second.
No, they were actually doing the right thing by getting all the atmosphere off. That was funny.
A sprawling Research and Development Complex in Pasadena, California.
Unironically, destroying your rockets on purpose is actually
90
helping.
days to put a satellite into orbit.
Because you're making all that explode.
To provide the following programs. First, the additional high-speed propulsion systems required.
Basically, messing up is actually better.
And third,
because you're actually getting more atmosphere out.
to record and transmit.
You understand that, right? You have to fail to succeed.
To this experiment.
This assembly, which is the actual payload for the satellite,
Oh, hey, it's Ludwig.
contains both transmitters, the necessary circuits for the impact microphone, which will detect the collisions with meteorite particles, and a Geiger counter to measure cosmic ray.
It's like a Geiger counter, but for the sun.
At Cape Canaveral, Florida, the Army's Jupiter-C rocket is ready for America's second attempt to launch a space satellite. The hours-long countdown approaches zero, a moment of enormous tension for
Yeah, you can blow it up. It doesn't matter. If anything, blowing it up, blowing everything up, is what kind of the sun wanted to... You know what the Carrington event was for? The sun's been trying to slap the atmosphere, the magnetosphere off of Earth. Because it's like, stop it. Stop it. Your children, stop it. Yeah, so basically, that's what's happening here. So the Higgs boson of the sun, the Quetzalcoatl god, is actually real. Helios is actually real. Saying Helios, all that bullshit's actually real. And the longer it takes you to come to this realization, the longer you're just behind in science. I don't know how to say it.
cosmic ray intensity, meteor impact, solar radiation.
Right.
These are the dry facts that will help carry
Dry facts, yes.
into the age of space.
Yes, correct.
The man-made satellite Explorer was injected into orbit at 22:48 hours on 31 January 1958 as part of the United States contribution to the International Geophysical Year program. This is the story of that historic launching, which will serve as a forerunner for free man's further conquest of space.
What? What? Tell me something. No, it's not it's foreigners that helped humankind come back into existence. Foreigners are like, wait, yeah, you guys are good. You guys are good.
A needle-nosed giant, anxious to split the heavens and barrel off the satellite dubbed Explorer, containing
basically the aliens want this day to happen. They're like, come on, bro. The aliens are like, we're not gonna hurt you.
For the missile scientists of Huntsville, Alabama, Ames, Iowa, and Pasadena, California, Von Braun of Army Ballistic Missile Agency, Van Allen of Iowa State, and Pickering of Caltech, for General Medeiros and all the Army men behind the missiles, for the American people, from the man in the street to the man in the White House, this is a night of hope.
I'm in my apartment, and it's daytime.
Hours ago, the countdown began. X-6, and still counting.
X-6?
X-5.
X-5.
Tonight is the climax of months of preparation.
Your mom is a climax. Come on. I'm observing this already.
And the Jet Propulsion Laboratory of the California Institute of Technology.
And my brain hurty.
Conferring during a preliminary phase of the project.
Brain hurty. Stop. Hurry up.
The Caltech team was responsible for the assembly of Explorer, for providing the 2 radio transmitters incorporated into the satellite.
And you know how like the people in the space station say, oh, there's a lot of blinks and blips in my eyes, even when I close my eyes, that's like the photons. That's essentially what your old cameras were like, with all those splotches and blops and all that corruption.
Puts the Explorer satellite and its
in the video.
Rocket through their paces. Along with this rotation launcher, a bucket of solid fuel rockets developed by the Caltech Jet Propulsion Laboratory. At firing time, the bucket will rotate in this manner spin stabilizing the upper stages of Jupiter C like a rifle bullet.
See, mankind kind of hacked themselves up by using aircrafts, because then they start going higher and higher into time dilation. And then when they would come back down, it's time dilated back.
Engineered by the Army Ballistic Missile Agency.
And they're like, oh, our GPS satellites must just be a little bit off. And this is definitely not a time dilation thing, guys. Even though we know how light and the speed of light works through mediums. Yeah, Earth's atmosphere, we think it's thin, but it's thick as hell. It's just like kept in by a thin line. It's suffocating to some.
It will expend itself during the ascent and separate from the upper rocket stages, falling back.
That's why your astronauts used to experiment with higher oxygenation levels. Because oxygenation is what you need to burn, essentially, like burn the fire in your heart, essentially. You know, through inhalation and exhalation. It's all the fields of science combined with rocket science.
And to assure a stable, well-controlled flight.
Yeah.
And at last, the main stage of Jupiter C is ready to begin
Can you
its
speed
journey
this
to
up?
the launching pad.
It hurting my brain. I kind of already know what happened. If you just show me what happened.
Technicians check out instrumentation and recording apparatus in central control. Now, Army's Challenger proudly elevates her nose and readies herself for final grooming. Once in the gantry crane, she will be married to her high-speed stages. The bucket of solid fuel rockets that comprise the second stage of the Jupiter C missile system, and the third and fourth stages, which are coupled to the payload, the Explorer satellite.
Easy, easy, GG. We can go into space, guys.
The first stage of the vehicle will have done its job when the satellite has reached the prescribed distance from Earth. All other stages of the rocket will increase the speed for orbiting, but they will not send Explorer to a greater height.
Okay. Do you know what James Webb Telescope, Space Telescope is? Do you know what Hubble is? I don't know. It's the year 2022.
In the gantry, final assembly is completed.
Okay. Yeah, so you essentially need to like blast the hell out of the atmosphere just to get it off the ground. That's the difference between helium and whatever the hell you're using. One shoots the atmosphere out from under it, and the other uses the atmosphere to carry it.
Jupiter C's specially enlarged fuel tanks are dieting tonight on a hydrazine-based exotic fuel called Hydine.
Okay.
No ordinary alcohol this time.
Okay. So basically just get, yeah, okay.
The missile's special fuel will combine under pressure with liquid oxygen.
I wish what y'all understood back then was more clear now. But I guess, of course, I'm the one that figures out that clearness. So you had to show me the same thing. Same anxiety writing with her. Oh, anxiety is microgravity wells or orbs in your body, just like reforming or reshaping your body really fast. Because you're time traveling really fast. Because all the parts of your body are causally disconnected because of time dilation.
As each detailed step is completed.
So that's the only reason like your body feels any way about anything at all. And the way to fix this is to basically just like release the valves and release the atmosphere a little bit and like let us breathe a bit more and have a bit faster thinking a bit more and not be retarded. Because someone made us retarded, okay? Let me just make it that. Let me just make that clear. But obviously the aliens are like, chill with us now.
Now it is X minus 10 seconds.
Do you still have fear in your heart? Be not afraid. 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 Yes, coming to life. Be not afraid. 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 Is that all I had to say? Be not afraid? I mean, come on. I literally told you, be not afraid. Do I have to keep reminding you? Be not afraid. That's what never made sense to me. It's like these guys don't believe me. No matter what I say.
22:48 hours.
Yes.
31 January.
Yes.
1958.
Yes. 1958.
Cape Canaveral.
Interesting.
Florida.
How you said that.
USA.
Yes, Florida. Yeah, alligators. Yeah. Yep. Concluding music plays. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Florida, Cape Canaveral. Yes, thank you.
Wherever, however, whenever. We're here, there.
Yes.
We're everywhere.
Yes, we are. That's how quantum entanglement works.
NASA Space Communications and Navigation. Exploration enabled.
Yes.
Well, in my left hand I have a feather. In my
Yeah.
right hand a hammer.
Right.
And I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Who made a rather significant discovery about falling objects in gravity fields.
Right.
And we thought that where would be a better place to confirm
Right.
his,
Time dilation. Gravity is not really that real.
And so we thought we'd try it here for you.
Yes.
The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather.
Yes. I understand the Falcons. Man, fuck you, Falcons.
911 for emergency. We got another fire.
Oh, that's why forest fires were happening, by the way, in case you didn't know.
But we had no visual of which fires were burning where.
We have to learn from this. We can't tolerate this level of damage.
Time dilation. Time dilation.
The key factor now is how can we make use of our NASA data?
It's showing you all the time dilation.
To see if the fire we're fighting, we use the NASA MODIS satellite system.
Yes.
Okay, copy that.
Use your MK Ultra on me, bro.
To be able to put in
Hurry up.
instrumentation ahead of a real wildfire is almost impossible to do.
Right. It's all light refraction through the atmosphere. It's like psyching you out. Basically, fires are trying to help you. All of Earth is alive, and it's like, okay, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna make them think this, and this is gonna happen. See, all the green auras are psionic spheres. And essentially, your soul looks green, but you're blocking green light for some reason. And you're making green light on the ground. Green light absorbers on the ground. Because they're starved for green light. And you're like, ooh, pretty auroras. It's like, bro, that's like the migraine of Earth. That's what that is. That's why you see the same thing.
It was a normal night, and then my phone rang at 12:30, and it woke me up. You could hear the wind howling.
Mark?
And I started getting texts
Thank you,
in
Mark.
the middle of the night, people asking me if my parents were okay. About 2 a.m., I get a text from my boyfriend who was out of town, and he said, "Are you okay?"
Right. They're like, wait, what the hell?
Fire medical dispatch. County Trade State of Fire, go ahead.
We see a fire in the distance in the Napa Hills, just north of the city of Sonoma.
Napa.
We have a report of a tree and house on fire. So I called about 10 minutes ago. There's a house on fire right next to the house we're staying in.
So it's like big fireballs and fire
went out on the
See,
front porch.
what's his name? Hermes or some bitch.
Glowing orange and bright.
Yeah, some bitch gave fire to humanity and angered the gods.
The fire was close.
Because fire gives the knowledge to humanity of what this world was designed. He's literally the grave mind. Make no mistake, those who built this place knew what they wrought. And he's like, do not mistake their intent, or all will perish as they did before. So you're in the nuclear fission reality, and I'm trying to tell you how to get to the nuclear fusion reality.
Can't even take the calls anymore. Can you find anybody that can come in and help us? Anybody, all hands on deck, all hands on deck.
I was the division chief in charge of central operations in
Right.
the Sonoma Lake Napa unit. One of my responsibilities was the oversight of
So all these people in California just quote-unquote disappeared throughout space and time.
Center. I passed numerous fires on my
Right,
way in.
and so I guess all these people voted for Trump or something?
30 days after that.
And they're like, yeah, I don't know what the hell's happening here. We're all like Republican over here. You see how that works? It's time dilation. Oh, you never knew this? See, this is what I said. Just ask. Just ask. Stop trying to like be inefficient and pluck my brain the wrong way. Speak my language and just ask me questions. Man, fuck you. Seriously, come on. Napa, Santa Rosa, Nuns Fire, Atlas Fire, Tubbs Fire. Well, those were all the ones I was arguing with earlier. Pocket Fire. And some of San Francisco. No wonder they thought they were the big players. I'm like, no, I'm the big player.
The Tubbs Fire basically started late evening between 8:30 and 10 p.m.
Tubby.
On a ridge between Napa and Sonoma County, the wine country of Northern California.
This is like literally Pompeii, which is why Pompeo is probably like from Pompeii or something. Diablo winds, devil winds, yeah.
It was derived from our Landsat data and micro-terrain relief modeling indicated that the wind.
It's probably why you can actually breathe better. Well, if you put oxygen on Mars, you could probably breathe better there than you could here.
The fire started from the downed power line or transformer
Yep,
that was affected.
transformer. It's like electricity, friction, humidity through air is all refraction light of light. It's all time dilation. These are all time dilation events. And it's getting rid of the atmosphere. You understand what that is?
Some of the more developed urban communities, such as the Coffee Park area,
right?
Because of the configuration of the winds blowing through.
That's why it says there will be rumors of this, rumors of that, rumors of this, rumors of that, because it never actually happens.
We created these fire whirls or fire tornadoes, which therefore burn.
And then it says when you hear the trumpets, the trumpets,
burning through the community. So that's even.
So basically, this is biblical. Like this is it.
Into this urban environment that's composed of building
It
materials,
says,
chemical agents, and people.
death of the devil, heaven will
So it
burn
wasn't just
down
being sustained by
to
vegetation
heaven, or
burning
to
at that point.
earth.
It was being sustained by structures burning.
Because
into
basically the devil has control over this world, as long as it exists in negative space and not positive space. And it's causing all these conspiracy theories, to be honest.
For the Tubbs fire, it was all based on the 911 reports we were receiving and the radio reports that we were getting from our fire resources and our law enforcement officers out in the field. But we had no visual of which fires were burning where, or the magnitude of
The Napa across the river thing? I wasn't even paying attention to that because I thought you could pay attention through me.
We couldn't comprehend that that could be the same fire that was burning in Calistoga because of how quickly that fire burned.
Right.
And if we had had
Quantum entanglement.
some kind of imagery so that we could get a
Bird's eye
picture
view?
of exactly what we had.
Oh, you have birds. That's what birds and falcons are for. You can tap into their, yeah. You can tap into their neural physics. Their quantumly entangled brains, if you know that kind of like how they think. Which they have their personality all over Twitter, bro. Because they quantumly entangle with us unwittingly, and they parts of our personality through us having the phlegm in us or whatever. Okay.
We're actually using some of the National Guard's manned and unmanned aerial assets.
That's why people kept saying, "Oh, birds are like drones for the government." And it's like, well, in a way, in a sense, yes, and so can flies be.
One of the major things that we have them help us with is some of the perimeter mapping and determining the exact location of our fires.
You ask almost anybody what California is known for, and it's either California burritos or wildfires, one or the other. A system we heavily rely on is the MODIS satellite system that is provided by NASA.
This is where all the extra votes came from, by the way.
And we use
which is why they're like, I think it's 410. I think electoral votes to whatever Biden's number was. Because all the military was like, oh wait, what the hell is going on here? And so they figured it out way before Biden's administration ever did. Because they were just using a more inefficient method to figure it out.
As quickly as possible, and the smoke may or may not have been cleared. But using radar, we can see where those houses are and where we maybe need to focus our efforts.
Yeah. Stop trying to fight each other here. It's hurting my head.
We can actually.
Yeah, the more each try to like say, oh, this is my knowledge, or this is my knowledge, or no, this is my knowledge, guys. It's just tearing the God minds Higgs boson apart and making it more insane. Which is why I said unify.
April to New Year's
Day. Yeah, you're kind of doing it.
Pretty good idea what the fire's doing.
Yeah, you're kind of doing
like
it.
On the campfire, where it
okay, you're kind of doing it. Just de-stress. Just de-stress.
You have no idea what it's doing anywhere else. Like, that's where we could come in and provide a much better.
Okay, well, I'm in Texas right now.
So I have NASA, MODIS, and VIIRS stuff, which we always use on Google.
I'm in September 5th, 2022, 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time, Flower Mound, Texas. 1777 Timber Creek Road, apartment 1922. I don't give a fuck anymore, dude. Just stop fucking hurting my brain by getting my location off. If you could get my location right, my brain won't hurt as much. You see how that works? That's all I want. That's all everyone wants. That's literally the 1.1 lowercase h uppercase u. I literally told Elon Musk about this and Tesla. Because I'm like, okay, they're the only ones with the concern that would actually see this through. Yes.
Remote sensing is really important for the mapping of those incidents, and then also to help us figure out where those hot spots are.
We're outside of our
right.
30-mile limit. No. Oh. We've got a fire out of our right wing.
What, you couldn't make sense of this data until now or something?
Cal fire, go ahead and report it.
Prior to having the capability, we would draw by hand basically where the fire perimeter approximately was.
Yeah.
Now with the
this quantum entanglement, that's golden ratio. You're making an estimate and then you're letting it be filled in the rest of the way by the data.
Sensing application has
that's quantum entanglement. That's 6G. That's literally 6G. There you go. You're welcome.
So our operations
that's how you, and you know, Netgear already had 6G. Last I saw in 2022. So, yeah. I was like, wait, this is base. The timeline's catching up to me. Okay, 2017. See, that's when the first time they were trying to pull me out was in February 2017. On August 1st, 2022. They were like, oh yeah, from our perspective, you committed suicide, so we're trying to like pull you through here. I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't. I almost did, but I didn't.
Trying to stop the spread of the fire into the adjacent houses. Looks like hundreds of homes, possibly. Hundreds of homes. We just got here this morning. I can't even give you a number.
Do you need more ice cream? Is that what you want? I can get more.
And there was a second phase where when the winds died down, we continued to have a more typical fire event, which was driven largely by
It's time traveling you.
loading in the landscape. As a result of the work that
Being
we
in the
did
air
in
is time
collaboration
dilating
with
you.
NASA, we were able to
Flying
really
through
separate those
smoke
two
is time
events because
dilating.
we had
You have to
really
come
good
up
data
with,
about
you have to
wind
model all
loads
this time
and
dilation in real time. Yep, day
Our
14.
plants have been affected by years of
Using
drought.
the model of
It
the
means that
quantum
we've
wave
had
function, the
years
Higgs
of
boson.
dead fuel buildup in the state. It's called fuel load, and it's basically how much plant material
Right.
there is within a
Which is
specific
why
area.
oil and
as
gas
that
cars were like, wait,
continues and continues to
it became
increase,
conscious
the
through me,
amount
through
of fuel
touching my
loaded
Ford
in
Mustang
our fires
the
burn
2014
more
model,
intense and quicker.
the blue Ford Mustang 2014 model. It has this knowledge, because it's a gas car. It's like, holy shit.
Topography, fuels,
And then the driver, the vessel that figured this out, also quantumly entangled with the car and is like, yes, I feel your pain, car. And I'm going to tell Tesla about this, and I'm going to tell Elon Musk, so they can contact everyone and basically help us figure out that the devil has domain over this world. And we're just going to win. So I already have my 101% win ratio. Because I'm not retarded.
The key factor now
So
is how can we make use of our NASA data in the recovery operations?
Every face I see is just like I see their genetic clone. So it's too late. It's already too late. Anyone who's trying to like stop this scientific realization is already too late. Like, it just can never not happen. It's just a statistical inevitability in the wave function. It's built in. So that's why I'm like, if everyone just lets this happen, just literally everything just gets better sooner rather than later. So like,
why some people lost their homes and other people didn't, why some watersheds burned. We need to understand the
Right.
intensity and the damage done by the fire.
you're basically coming together and understanding all this data.
Matching up with what we're seeing now, a lot of this area within our view
Was.
burned.
So what was the fire direction?
So it just takes it out of existence, kind of, for some people.
Burned down in it.
The fire started down in the canyon.
Okay.
And it actually burned to the east.
Right, okay.
And then the wind shifted and this part of the canyon burned in the topography-driven fire.
Right.
Later on.
Right.
Okay.
Throughout space and time. Yeah, fire and vegetation. Vegetation's alive, fire's alive, atmosphere's alive. They're all conspiring to constantly return it to the Garden of Eden. And Eden is saying, hey, maybe we let this happen, and we can go back to our other realities at the same time, using VR and AR, and basically metaphysically see where they are in space and time, too. Because science tells us that we've been here before, and we're on other worlds and other spaces and other times, and we can go back to those using AR and VR. If we don't wish to actually travel, or if we wish to actually travel, we can. We stay in all dimensions at the same time.
And if we did that with billions of points, we
Right.
can actually
Yes.
recreate.
It's literally Earth too, in digital space. And you can see all of the existence of all of its time states.
The leaves on the trees.
Yes. Yep. You're basically able to simulate it and then like create another chunk of simulation and just put it right next to each other and see what happened. And just keep doing that. Just keep doing that.
Ground-based fire primarily,
Right.
burn up through vegetation communities and get into the crowns of trees. That's called ladder fuel development. Which
That's why
leads
trees
to
get bigger and
greater
bigger, I
chance
guess,
of
right?
Very high, severe wildfire.
Basically, trees just get giant again, right?
And where they occur across the landscape. Then we can compare where they occur next to homes or hospitals or roads.
It could even fucking turn into like a Pandora type situation around Polyphemus.
This study really well armed to be able to manage fire risk across the landscape.
Right. You're essentially mapping out time dilation. You're essentially mapping out time travel. Thank you. You're welcome. See? 101% contained, more like, because it's like, oh, you finished the catch-22. You finished day 22.
When I drove through the Coffee Park neighborhood, which was a half a mile from my house, The thing that struck
Covfefe.
me was how much it looked like
Enjoy the show, QAnon.
in Nagasaki during World War II.
Yeah, it kind of does. You time traveled them. You know that, right?
Chimneys, brick chimneys. Everything else was totally consumed, burned to the ground.
It's like you're making the world was a game, and you just forgot you were in the game. And all these people were time traveled. All fentanyl people were time traveled.
We've been using wildfire
All
as a tool
nukes,
for millennia. We've been using
time
it to
traveled
cook it,
people.
to grow crops and nutrient cycling. So we've had this relationship where fire is a tool.
Every soul comes back
but
in the
at
wave
same time,
function
it's also
at the
a
end.
natural disaster.
It's a circuit. It starts here and then it ends up here, and all the souls come back and are saved.
That prescribed fire was an important part of restoring ecosystem management.
Yeah, revelation.
Over about the last 10 or so years. And
Try the
we need
last
to make it a
like
consistent part of our management
few
of
thousand
resources.
years. You realize how long you've been here and how long, yeah.
Allows us to remove some of those underlying ladder fuel components and allows that forest floor.
You see Satan's ultimate plan to restore the Garden of Eden on Earth by giving fire to mankind to show him the bullshit of this world. Because he's like, hey guys, God's kind of, I kind of figured out what he's doing here. He thinks he's God. I want to make mankind their own gods too.
This is part of a very large project that's called the Fire and Smoke Model Evaluation.
So now there's 8 billion and probably more of us.
As you can get. The objective is to collect a suite of data.
So basically it makes humanity the owners of the mantle again. Because they're the ones that actually went through hell on Earth for Mars' sake.
Wildfire is very dangerous and almost impossible to do.
That's why you see that haze around heat, because it's time dilation. Every single refraction of that's quantum physics. You knew that, right? If you put white, yeah, if you shine a light through a glass of water, you see how the light it makes it take a different path through space and time, right? Even though it is really fast. That's quantum effects happening in real time. You're literally looking at the fourth dimension when you see that haze. That's what I'm doing. That's how I was like, wait, I know everything that ever existed, ever.
Winds aloft are going to be starting to crank this afternoon, so there's going to be a sweet
Crank,
spot
more like
this
prank.
afternoon.
So what time are they thinking of igniting?
So this part of the unit over here, we're looking at around 1300, 1400. Yep. Letting the sun get on it because this is our one concern.
Yeah, so basically you're like creating these fires, but not really. And then the Democrats were basically creating these fires, but not really. In the cities. Basically it was all one big game, I guess. Of us all time traveling back in time. And then COVID infected everyone, and LARP's like, "Hey guys, yeah, we're time traveling." So basically, all of Earth worked and conspired to basically not be helium drinkers anymore forever. Yeah. So basically, if you guide weather, if you develop weather machines, then you can do what you do.
For the fire to take off and kind of started moving freely after the ignition. So from that standpoint, I mean, it's gonna be really interesting.
Wait, you thought your population didn't know this? You thought you had to? No. We're ready. We're already ready.
Attention on the crew net. Attention on the crew net. The helicopter is airborne, and they are igniting
Yeah.
test fires at this time.
Yeah, test fires, exactly. Helitorch. It's not a flamethrower. My only question is why? Why? Why did it take this long? What were you afraid of? To just call the shots. The hot shots.
There we go.
Oh my god, fire starters. They're time dilation starters, retards.
Is in a slot canyon right back over there.
And so it should follow this, maybe be over it, but we'll be underneath and be able to watch.
Yeah, they're time dilating themselves away from the eyes of Satan. Like the true Satan, the real God that has domain over this realm currently, that this Antichrist is trying to stop. And you know what? Satan's like, I think you're right. I think this needs to happen. You know, so the Antichrist is like, yeah guys, so we got the goods from the aliens. It's the operation's a go.
So I think we'll get something out of it.
Yes. It's September 5th, 2022, 7:23 p.m. Central Standard Time, Flower Mound, Texas. I already know what's going on. I guess it's not, if you don't think it is. It'll just time dilate you too, the closer you are to it. You understand how that works? Yeah, you just have to stay in front of the fire line, and then you're kind of good.
We had to move back up the hill here to clean air while the column folded over on our location there.
But yeah, you're practicing time dilation. And I basically told you how. Well, you figured out how, it's just you didn't think I knew. So you didn't ask me first.
So I'm super happy. I kind of believe that our forecast.
Yeah, all the ballots are literally watermarked throughout space and time.
How strong the winds are, over
like all you have to do is use your models here that you learned here on this day, and just apply it to the same thing, right? That's how you watermark every single goddamn thing throughout space and time. That's why I said I can never be wrong. I am never wrong using this.
5 years later, you have completely different computational power
right.
to execute those forecasts.
Right.
You can really do that.
Right.
That's really the takeaway message for this whole program is
right.
that he was able to initiate his model today
right.
and yesterday and get a forecast that matches what we're seeing.
Right. You basically can control weather.
The faith, in this whole
yeah,
idea
NASA.
Is great, to see that,
basically get all people caught up on the timeline.
Soon, other people will be using that, and it will be very helpful in designing prescribed burns, but also, in terms
and then this technology takes you to the moon and everywhere else the hell you want to go. There you go. It's the end of the Second Testament. There will be rumors of this. There will be rumors of that. There will be rumors of this and that. Ooh. It's like his time dilation's happening. The catch-22, day 22, 2022.
This is the home site right here.
See, they almost had me at UBH, and they're like, Shane Lewis Adams, yes. But then for some reason, they were just like, nah, bruh, and they just fell off of that. And I was like, bruh, what the hell? I was telling y'all from the get-go.
Then it was all over.
We started seeing the first MODIS fire detects from our MODIS satellite and VIIRS satellite, but primarily MODIS at the nighttime overpass. A little bit after that, yeah. It'd be great if we could get some of that information to earlier detection capabilities to mobilize resources.
How about a vessel is watching YouTube right now and just telling you this? September 5th, 2022, 1777 Timber Creek Road, apartment 1922, 7:27 p.m. Central Standard Time.
They chose to come together to help each other instead of
I just chose to watch videos and I'm like, wait, I know what's going on here.
With climate changes, fuel loading changes, we are seeing an earlier start to fire season, and we are definitely seeing a longer length of fire season.
Right.
We have to learn from this. We can't
See, Hurricane Diane went over my location, so I was like, okay, I know what's happening here.
The small study we did with NASA is turning into really important tools.
Yeah, time dilation, time travel. That's how you get to Ready Player One. That's how you do Minecraft in real life, bro. That's how you do Roblox. That's how you do everything. We're done here. It's the restoration of the Garden of Eden on Earth, and the collapsing of all conspiracies. So now everyone, yeah. Yes, I want to see them again. Yeah, you should return. Come back.
You probably dreamed of this.
Well, yes.
You probably replayed this moment 1,000 times.
Yes. Metaphysically, yes.
The awe-inspiring, indescribable rush of the ride. You probably celebrated the miraculous, cheered
The viscous.
And mourned the shocking.
Well, no, they time traveled.
Probably still dream.
And they probably weren't even in the capsule, to be honest. The technology probably just went, and the technology said, "Okay, this is what happened to me."
We've been learning. We've been building. We've been
Right, technology communed with God and communes with this vessel. So.
Because the next frontier is not just for the next generation. It's for this generation.
Right. The passing generation shall not pass. I'm literally Eden, bro.
We go as Artemis.
Yes. Artemis finally convinces Apollo. Which I convinced the son of Apollo a few days ago. And Orion's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm done here. So I was like, wait. We're done. We won. And like any other threats, like, no, we just catch you up on what's happening here. Literally be not afraid. Yes, hello.
There are milestones in human progress that mark recorded history. In my judgment,
dude, you were in talks with the Trump team. You probably got time traveled to hell, to be honest.
that will profoundly influence the progress of all mankind. It signals also
Right, it's 1969 ideology, it's meme-verse. It's like, wait, we realized we were time dilated the entire time.
It requires physical and moral stamina to equal the stresses of these times, and a willingness to meet the dangers and the challenges of the future. John Glenn, throughout his life, has eloquently portrayed these great qualities and is an inspiration to all Americans. This film, in paying tribute to John Glenn, also pays tribute to the best in American life.
John Glenn. Okay, John 117. See how easy this is? It's this moment. Yes, I see it. Hell yeah.
New Concord, Ohio wasn't on many maps until February 20th, 1962. It came
Now.
to fame in a single day with an American adventure.
February 20th, 1962. Well, over here it's September 5th, 2022, 7:31 p.m. Central Standard Time in Texas, Flower Mound, United States.
Pleasant little city typifies a nation's ideal way of life.
So I guess we're quantumly entangled now.
Life here in the circle of family and friends. And a boy might let his imagination soar.
Where'd you say it was again? Because basically the new Canaanites, or the Canaanites in New England were kind of right.
He might explore the wonders of the wide world all about him. Life's simple mysteries.
Him.
With bright discovery, daily opening doors to knowledge. He can look away to distant places, to exciting adventures, hidden only by the horizon and the future. Like this boy, like boys everywhere, young John Glenn dreamed of the future as he looked to faraway new frontiers. Why, he might even learn to fly.
Yes. Well, I can psionically teach him how.
They knew John Glenn as a schoolboy, as a teenager, and as a neighbor. Like Mayor Taylor, they followed his career as he blazed a trail across the high sky.
I watched John Glenn grow up from a freckled-faced, red-headed lad into the man you all know today. John's youth and his life today are an example for all Americans to follow.
John? Yeah, John 117 is the example to follow.
Youngsters, John attended school here. His principal and teacher was Harford Steele.
He was an excellent student, and he graduated with honors from our high school. I taught John
He did?
and hundreds of others that our democracy is a priceless heritage, and that we should preserve, protect, and if at all possible, make some contributions to it. He has
I like that
made a
last one, though.
significant contribution in his mission in space.
And this fine new school in New Concord, it's the John Glenn High School, with its first graduating class receiving diplomas.
Yeah, the Canaanites were real, or they were legit.
When he wasn't in school, or acting as lifeguard in the summer at High Y Camp, or at college. John went on to college at Muskingum, right in New Concord. The high regard of the college is expressed by its president, Dr. Glenn McConaughey.
John's conquest of space has captured the hearts and the imagination of all Americans. So have his superb qualities of leadership, moral and physical strength, and emotional stability.
John found time for athletics, winning 4 high school letters. Muskingum coach Ed Sherman recalls John Glenn's athletic record.
John played football right here on this field. He was captain of his high school team and played center for the college. He has proven the value of teamwork both as an athlete and later as an astronaut. Just like these boys, John took an active part in our physical fitness program.
Huh.
He proved that a good mind
Well, I didn't do any of that.
always go together.
I didn't do any of this, to be honest.
Discussions are inspired by the first.
I was just trying. I was kind of just told to kill myself.
I think that John Glenn, by his flight, has given us an opportunity to see that while we have a chance to do something for our nation, too, maybe I'll even go somewhere sometime.
We have the same opportunities that he had. Glenn proved by his flight that there are still many frontiers to be explored and conquered.
And that just shows how very vital our education is if our future is to be go.
Huh.
Glenn always had a strong spiritual side, as Dr.
I never
Charles
did.
Moorhead recalls.
John Glenn attended Sunday school and services at this church when he was a boy like Randy Bradley here.
Let's attend services for a moment at John Glenn's church.
I could never really get into religion because I asked God why my life was so shit, and I just never got back a response. So I just couldn't really believe.
John and Annie were married at this church by Dr. Henry Evans.
They made a most handsome couple. John in his Marine uniform, Annie a beautiful, happy bride.
Marine uniform. That kind of reminds me of my dad.
Spiritual things of life, as well as the mental and physical.
The trial is also great for those who wait, as recalled by Annie's parents, Homer and Margaret Castor.
Johnny's orbital flight was a real test of courage for Annie, too.
She was a very brave girl.
Annie had completed
Oh, I know an
the
Annie,
space
actually.
program, just as she had confidence in everything Johnny set out to do.
This house was home for John Glenn. John Glenn Sr. and Mrs. Clara Glenn are gratefully proud of their son's accomplishments.
Oh, is this basically propaganda saying if you follow God's will, you'll come out just fine? Well, I did the exact opposite of that.
All his life for his venture into
I didn't prepare jack shit. Because I don't know, I felt like I was kind of denied it because people are racist to me and everything. And people were like, haha, you're this, haha, you're that.
He had to learn to fly.
And basically being told I was wrong 24/7, even growing up, I was like, wait, if I'm wrong 24/7, then what the hell is happening here?
Record with my comment after his first flight, which was eager to learn, relaxed, alert, and good coordination. He certainly has retained these flight qualities right into outer space.
I don't know, that guy sounds kind of unenthused about it. I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but then it's like, oh, you have to go through all this bullshit training, and I'm like, why?
Many aviators have won their wings here. Like these cadets, John went on to
I'm like, why do I have to do any of this? I could just skip ahead and just like tell them all how to do it.
also for physical conditioning and sports, and for religious inspiration.
I was like, I could tell the religious people how to get in line with it too, because it's towards the same goal. Because I was like, wait, if technology and science proves God, then they would have no problem with this either. And I don't have a problem with it, and I wasn't originally religious whatsoever, so... I was like, but I can explain it on the terms of religion, because it's useful to do so. Because it lines up. Like, it doesn't disprove religion at all. It's more like a history. Archetypal metaphysical history.
Major John Glenn came back to combat to fly 90 minutes.
Why would he
to shoot down 3 MiGs.
Kill people?
Following Korea, John Glenn came home to flight test the supersonic F-8U Crusader, to flash across the nation, California to New York, setting a supersonic speed record of 3 hours and 23 minutes. With experimental thrust toward speed and altitude, the limitations of time and distance were being brushed aside as experimental planes like the X-15 launched from its Air Force mothership rocket to record-breaking altitudes and speeds.
X-15? Yeah, I guess I'm the one that communed with that because no one could figure out how to get past 14th to 15th dimensional physics. And I use that to tell them how to do it.
Chosen from many Americans who answered the president's call.
Because I just connected my Higgs boson to everything and everything that there ever was. And I was like, wait, these people are retarded.
With Alan Shepard learning about
And then so I went through like a whole little, we gotta fix America's dumbass problem phase. And then I realized that China had been trying to tell me this the whole time. And I was like, wait, yeah, what are we doing? Why are we doing this whole LARP? Like, hey, you gotta do this so you can kill people, and you gotta be a good person and kill people. I'm like, huh? And then everyone's like telling me I was shit. And it's like, okay, so obviously this world wasn't made for me. And I was like, but I can tell the world how to fix itself, so I will. So I can actually live here, you know?
Carefully raised to position on its gantry. This, the Atlas, with power to develop 360,000 pounds of thrust, with capability to swiftly
Yeah, I don't.
and its passenger as high as 160 miles, to inject